Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab.
Well, either way, are you guys ready?
Are we ready? How can you ask me if I'm ready, dog? I've been recording this whole time.
Oh,
Fuck.
I'm always ready for episode 4? 4 of the Giant
Always
Enemy
ready.
Crab podcast. Shut up.
Oh, dude, this is fake merch.
Cool. So I'm Fliz. That was Tsun. I'm joined by Kyler and Strider here.
hello.
We're back again for some wonderful, wonderful gaming news. And I guess I'll start off with is it a retraction? It's
No, it's not a retraction because you never gave a concrete statement.
Well, yeah.
You literally said that we have to wait till we get some more.
Yeah.
So we need some more concrete
if you
news.
listened last week, I said Dr. Disrespect might be in some hot water. And then I like immediately dismissed it. So I was like, I can't just snag this and be like, because this is some serious stuff. And then I think the next morning it turned out to all be true.
You fucked it up.
Yeah. I was thinking about it today. I was like, man, what is the deal with like YouTubers and streamers? They're always messing around with kids, man. I don't get it. Why is that like,
shit?
yeah, like just what? I don't know. Anyway, so the news is somebody accused him apparently. So yeah, okay, we'll start. Dr. Disrespect, huge streamer. I'm sure you've heard his name. Guy with the mustache and glasses, always yelling at shit. I think he plays COD. I think he was a developer for COD first, right? He was some.
Oh, I don't know.
He worked for one of the FPSs, the big ones. And then he became a streamer and he got huge. And then one day during one of his streams, he got some sort of text message you could see, and then he shut down his stream and got kicked off of Twitch. And it was a big mystery. Nobody knew why. There was all sorts of allegations flying around. I think there was one saying it was because he was talking about David Icke, who's like a racist, horrible idiot who believes in lizard people and shit. I've looked into him. He's special. That's not why, though. It turns out that he was messaging minors. And somebody at Twitch finally, spilled the beans. And apparently 3 people reported him for that. It wouldn't have been, you could say whatever about it, right? I know he cheated on his wife. That's something like different that I guess they got around. It's fine, whatever. It's not fine. I don't believe in that. Anyway, the point is like, he already had like kind of a dicey-ish past with kind of stuff like that. And nobody wanted to believe it was anything crazy he got kicked off for. Like they thought it was some dumb shit. But the messages got leaked and they said he was messaging sexually explicit messages to minors. This is on Forbes. Like this is verified at this point. Like the real, not like us. This is like the real news. Right. And then the best part is, I guess not the best part. The worst part is you can get away with anything as long as you shut your mouth. From what I've learned growing up is if you just deny everything, you can just walk away from 90% of shit that's thrown at you. I've seen it happen multiple times. This guy gets on Twitter and posts this like multiple page essay saying like, did I message a minor? Yeah. Did it get a little racy? Yeah. But that's not really, it's not illegal. No pictures were sent. And it's like, no, don't do that. Of all the things you can do, don't do that.
Did you watch his stream too? Because he was streaming while this was happening as well.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he was streaming Elden Ring, the DLC.
Oh, which we'll get to.
Yeah. And eventually he's like, you know what? this is too much. I'm going on an extended vacation. I've ended his stream, and he is now on an extended vacation with his family.
Oh my god.
His own game studio left him behind.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I saw when you talked about this, I actually looked it up. And right when I did, his game studio that he co-founded, they made a statement on Twitter saying that they were like cutting all ties from him, right? And what called me a strange was they said in the post that they assumed his innocence, but they still cut ties with him. And that's where I was like, that's kind of weird. For him when he's the co-founder, like he's not just like somebody they're partnered with. He helped make the company.
Look at like I guess it's not exactly the same, but like look at the High on Life studio that was Justin Merlin's, and they separated.
Right, but if you look at the context of the tweet, they also talked about how they're not going to let like these type of allegations kind of affect their decision making and what they want to do. And I thought at first like, oh, they're just going to say we still support the person who co-founded us until more evidence comes out. I was like, okay, all right. And then at the very end, that's why we're cutting all ties with Dr. Disrespect over these allegations.
You got to do that, man.
I got the feeling that it might have been a little bit true just from that.
Yeah. Well, and then it was nailed in the coffin. That's not how you say that. Doesn't matter. With his super long Twitter post. There's some good stuff in here. Verbatim, were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations. Like this man is as old as I am, messaging underage kids. He's I'm no fucking predator.
42?
Dude, well, he's older than me, I guess. He's saying like, I'm not a predator. Like, this is what predators do. Like, had it gone forward, you would be a pedophile. Like, this is just another level, and he's saying like, they want me to disappear. Yeah, right, dude. What happened to Cookie LOL, huh? What happened to these wonderful folks who got caught with stuff like this? The best part is the, I went down to check the comments and he is getting blasted. Like the first picture under his post is a picture of EDP.
Oh, no.
Another super predator, an apex predator, if you will.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's just post after post of like, dog. Nah. And then the best part is he's edited it 3 times. And the only part of the edits in there that really stands out is he's edited the word minor out of it, back into it, and out of it again.
Yeah. He keeps changing it.
Like, I
don't know how this keeps happening. Like,
that's what I was saying, man.
So
YouTubers
often.
and streamers and like people who make games, like, dude, if something about being terminally online is like, not causation for this predatory behavior, but there's got to be some kind of correlation there. Like,
it seems like a relatively high percentage of these online personas and figures end up getting really messed up in some way.
Yeah, and it's always for the same kind of stuff.
They seem to be perfectly fine before. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
It sucks.
Maybe if we were famous, we'd figure it out.
Like P. Diddy. Like join the P. Diddy party with Dr. Disrespect and EDP.
Oh man.
The other part of this is just that the 49ers, who apparently were tied with him, cut ties. So he's no longer doing anything for them, and that is going to be a big chunk of money. How does his wife and kids stay knowing, oh, your career is tanked because you talk to kids?
What's like they're I never understood either, like how these people stay with like the folks that get caught for this kind of shit.
Oh, money. It's about money. Yeah, a lot of
pretty
stuff.
Much.
If you're like one of them Teflon folks,
like,
they don't.
That's even worse though. He is a kid.
Yeah, like, and a wife and a bunch of his fan base is millions of kids. So I can't even remember the last time I talked to somebody just generally in who is under like 17, you know, like just at all. Like I don't even like, how do you get in contact? Like I don't know. You got to look for it is what I'm saying, and he must have looked for it.
It's awful.
Anyway, sorry to all you Dr. Disrespect fans.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset that it took so long, because that was back in 2017.
Yeah,
we could have known about this 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's, and he's just had a career since then. He's just
been
got
going
off Twitch and got on another platform, still made money.
They returned and they still have an audience somehow.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I guess that was true, and it's sad for this. I don't even know. It's sad for everything.
Speaking of very sad things, did you guys see Bandai Namco Online is gone now?
It's just, so is it just gone? Like,
it's bankrupt.
Yeah. So yeah. To clarify, this isn't Bandai Namco the entire company. This is Bandai Namco Online. So this is the branch that made one of your favorite games, Fliz, Gundam Evolution.
Man, if we ever want to talk about a game sometime, I could go on about that game and how much they just missed. You know,
yeah.
You had the perfect,
all the pieces.
You had all the bases loaded. You hit the home run, and then everybody just stood there and asked for money. I'm not running till you pay me $5.
But yeah, they were the company behind Gundam Evolution, so a few of the Gundam games actually, and Blue Protocol too, which was it kind of was a big hit in Japan, so like a free MMO.
Okay,
it's apparently not been doing so hot since it launched, but when it did, it was very popular. Yeah. They had their latest financial statement, Bandai Namco did, and it didn't go very well, like at all, because Bandai Namco Online specifically reported like a net loss of 8.2 billion yen, which is $51 million.
$51.
Yeah. And like,
no.
Dude, I don't know. Yen is like a candy bar for 30 million yen. Like, I don't know what's going on with that currency.
No, not even.
I'm just trying to give you the official numbers. But like in these industries, especially for a company like Bandai, you know, them to go negative at all is kind of like a big deal. Now, like that's kind of crazy.
What, like, I know the name, I know Bandai and Namco. Like, what did they do? Because I don't know Blue Protocol, and I don't think Gundam is where I learned about them. They must have done. I know. What else have they done? I'll look it up while you.
So yeah, they pretty much made a lot of the different Gundam games. They did Blue Protocol. I don't know specifically what else besides that they've done, but mostly they're dedicated to doing like MMORPGs and similar types of digital media stuff that's massively multiplayer, similar to like Call of Duty and stuff. Gotcha. That's kind of what their shtick was.
Okay.
So yeah, they report net loss, and actually Bandai Namco, the company, they report profits, but like way less than they did last year. I think it was like 25% less. So they're still making money, but less than they want to.
Okay.
Which also isn't good.
So they made Tamagotchis, Pac-Man, Tekken, Dark Souls, Naruto, Gundam Tales.
Yeah, they're one of the publishers for Tales, I'm pretty sure.
Publisher for Elden Ring? Really?
Yeah,
and they're going for bankruptcy?
That's the funny part.
We're talking about the online.
They said the reason that their performance in Japan has significantly fell short, this is from them, is because of they deficited most of its failures to replicate Elden Ring's success. They said, we tried to do what Elden Ring did and we failed, and that's why we're losing so much money.
What is that? What did they try to do?
I don't know. That's just what they said.
Interesting. Okay.
They said Elden Ring's like too good of a game. That's why we're losing money.
That's like all those developers saying, "Oh, Baldur's Gate gives you too much. It's such a shit deal. Like it's screwing over the game industry.
The bar's too high now. How can we compete?
We're not going to even try. We give up. Here's some $60 shovelware."
No, it's pretty interesting news for Bandai. I know they had this whole new strategy along with like Square Enix and stuff, because again, like Bandai, the reason they're losing so much money seems to be that they keep starting projects, trying to make them and then canceling them and then retrying something else. Like that seems to be a common thing right now.
Yeah.
With these Japanese studios.
I think the other thing is that's interesting is like they've 23%, 22% decrease over the previous year, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But it's their highest net sales overall.
Oh.
Ever.
Yeah. That was the other.
So they've actually sold more things.
Well,
And,
yeah, the other part of it is like bankruptcy, you know, like I think Donald Trump's claimed bankruptcy like 6 times. Like it's not the end. It's just, you know, some companies do sometimes to reset their funds. So
yeah, it's just it's more of a sign of like issues within like the industry. Because what that means, because like Jacob said, their net sales are really high. It's just their profits are lower than they want. And you can probably attribute all that to development costs.
No, it's to Elden Ring.
It's Elden Ring. See how it runs on a computer? My God. What'd you say?
Said Elden Ring invaded and stole my lunch money.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, it's really just like development costs, I'm pretty sure. Like one part is them just starting and canceling projects over and over just from, you know, what we hear it's going on internally. I don't know what projects, but that seems to be happening. And also just how expensive it is to make these like, you know, AA, AAA games too. They're getting really expensive to make, and they keep cutting developers, which makes the products that they make worse and worse. They just look shinier, but then when you go to play them, they're not that great compared to some of the other titles that have come out in the past.
Yeah, I mean all the indie games have been killing it for a couple of years now. Like the amount of times I've watched somebody be like, "Hey, you got to play this," and it looks like shit, but it turns out it's super fun. Is like that's par for the course at this point. The uglier a game is, the more fun it's going to be. What did we play last night?
Focused on the game.
We played some demo last night. I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
Oh, Half-Sword's fucking great.
Oh my God. And it looks like absolute garbage, but it's more fun than Call of Duty. Like indie games are where it's at. Yeah, I know. But that was fun. I actually kept that demo installed. I'm gonna try that again sometime.
Yeah, so hopefully from Namco and or Bandai Namco, we see like, you know, them kind of focusing more and not like trying to do too many things and cancel their projects and just make a good game. All we can do is cross our fingers and hope that happens, but we'll see. It's definitely interesting.
That's kind of, I don't know.
Who knows?
You think you should just put like, you could even like make a game and have it be kind of complete, right? You have the idea and everything down, and then just like sell it as early access for like $10. And then if people like it, put more time and energy into it. Like you could just do that with everything instead of starting off with a $70 game. But you know, I'm not a businessman. It's probably more lucrative to.
I'm sure someone there's run the numbers and they said this is what you do.
Brilliant idea. Fuck off. I got this. I'm gonna save the video game industry.
A collective 0 years of my.
Hey man, I'll tell you how to fix League. I know how to fix it. I can balance these characters. I did. All right.
I think, yeah.
League's having a problem with like their player base is just progressively getting older. Like they're not getting new players.
I saw that. Yeah. How do you get new players into a game that fucking complicated?
You don't.
You have
release
to be.
Arena.
I mean, it's not like they make it any easier either. They keep complicating things.
Well, I mean that's fair. That's why the game's been around forever, because it keeps changing. But I think the tutorial is still the same from when I played it like 10 years ago.
Changed.
And like,
I don't think that's really changed all that much.
It's so crazy because that game is easily the highest highs and the lowest lows of any game I've experienced. Right. And it's like, you have to drag somebody tooth and nail into playing that game. It takes dozens of hours to get like a basic understanding of items and characters, and like you shouldn't even play real games until you've tried or fought every character, you know, and there's 160, 70 of them. I don't know. But like I can see why I can just tell my daughter will be like, oh, Fortnite, just turn it on and play. I could never do that with League ever in a million years.
It's too difficult. Way too difficult. Speaking of difficult, what else we played?
Ooh.
Video games.
Wait, no, I want to hear Tsun's news. What was your thing?
Before that.
What? Oh, I don't know. The Danny DeVito thing.
Yeah, tell me about Danny DeVito. I like Danny DeVito. Everybody likes Danny DeVito.
It's just an article I found saying Danny DeVito said he definitely would voice Wario in a Mario movie sequel.
Oh, he's voicing Mario or Wario.
Yeah, he said he'd definitely play Wario in a Mario movie sequel, and fans want it.
Of course they do. If you're gonna have
no shit, yeah, no, I want it.
If you're gonna have Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong and the other Guardian of the Galaxy, Star-Lord as Mario, then yes, please give me Danny DeVito.
People have pointed out too,
Star-Lord.
like it wouldn't be out there like too far out there either, because one of his co-stars, Charlie Day from Always Sunny, is in it as well, as he's the voice of Luigi.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, just put them all in there. Actually, no, just put those two. I don't really care about the other ones. Charlie Day and Danny DeVito can be in there. The rest can go fuck.
I don't think you want the same thing from the Mario movie that most people would.
I kind of hope it's just like everyone's in there, like, you know, it's all animated except for Wario. It's just Danny DeVito.
No costume. No
costume. No. He just has the mustache. That's
no,
it.
he gets like a yellow Hamburglar outfit.
Yeah. That would be pretty amazing.
You know what though? I didn't hate that movie. I liked exactly one's. Oh, well, I mean, I liked one scene at the end, and that was pretty, but I didn't hate the rest of it.
I thought it was really. I thought it was like a really weird. I don't know if I want to say. It was a really weird choice. There we go, to like make it not the normal Mario voice.
That felt
he retired, but
but I mean, if they said, "Dog, we're coming back with a movie that's going to be an absolute hit, no matter what," and we kind of want the original Mario voice, like nobody would have hated that,
That's what I mean. Like, it's a weird option. They didn't go for.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more of a just.
It's star power, but still.
No, I think it's more just like a kid's thing. Like it's a movie for kids at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. So put Mario's voice in there, the one from all the games you've been playing for 30 years.
Yeah, but we're not kids anymore.
My kid plays Mario. She knows the Mario voice, not Chris Pratt.
But kids know who Chris Pratt is.
No, they don't.
Crispy Rat
from Marvel.
Star-Lord, not Chris Pratt.
Oh, wait, he wears a helmet most of the time. No, Chris Pratt plays Star-Lord.
He does, but nobody goes, "Oh, it's Chris Pratt." They go, "It's Star-Lord."
No, that's just you, I think.
No, nobody. They say, "Oh, that boy is Spider-Man." I don't even remember that kid's name. Tom Holland. I remember. I lied.
Destroy his own argument.
No. Yes. Okay.
No, I think it's just one of those. I'm not saying it's like the right decision. I think that's like the corporate look of kids like Star-Lord. Let's make him Mario.
I can't imagine them pulling like what age kids.
So what's weird about that though is like that works more on a visual aspect than it does on a sound aspect. They're not going to be like, "That's the voice of the guy." It's like, no, kids don't recognize voice actors.
No,
nearly as much.
No,
I think you can. I mean, I don't know. It's possible. And again, I'm not saying
Adderall children. But
I'm not saying it's a smarter, good decision. I'm saying that's probably why they did it.
And they're doing the same thing.
The original retired, but
they're doing the same thing for Borderlands with Jack Black as the robot, which I can't believe. That's not for kids. That's stupid.
That's just the movie, right?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
What do you mean? Like you thought he'd be in the game?
Yeah, just the way you phrased it, it was like, yeah, like they were replacing
Yeah,
the Claptrap voice actor completely, but no, it's just in the movie.
But the movie's going to be the most looked at thing. That's going to be but not everybody who's played the Borderlands
Listen,
games.
man, there are a lot of weird choices in that cast.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't happy with any of them. Well, maybe we should talk about Borderlands sometime because I really like the first two. Anyway, okay, so Wario.
Wario / Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
What in the
I want it.
/ Penguin / So I started blasting.
Oh my god. Seeing Danny DeVito as the Penguin is hilarious.
It's great. That's what I grew up on.
You guys ever see that interview where him and Arnold were talking about their roles in the Batman movies?
No.
Yeah, they did one. I didn't watch the full thing, but I saw a clip of it, but it's pretty funny too. Like, what'd Batman do to you? Threw me out a window. Oh, that's rough, buddy.
All right. Well,
good.
I guess we're good on news. All right.
I think so. It's time. It's time for the Elden of Rings.
Ooh, spoiler time! If you haven't beat it, get good.
Get good.
Like anyone knows the
Or use the
lore
mimic tier
or
and
story.
breeze your way through it.
No.
Yeah, the final boss is pretty fucking easy.
Shut up. Well, soon here. He was kind enough to let us talk about it, even though he still hasn't beat it because he's seen pretty much all of it. It's hard to step away from it at this point. Everybody's playing it.
True.
So, final thoughts.
I liked it. I liked
Very
the
solid
DLC.
DLC.
I think it has problems, but I definitely did enjoy it.
Okay. I'm kind of in the same camp. Like, I feel like I got my money's worth, right? Even though I didn't buy it. Actually, I bought it for Strider and Strider bought it for me. So technically, whatever. Anyway, I feel like it was worth the price.
Yeah.
You didn't even fight half of the bosses.
But here's what I was going to say. I beat it. And then I went to start looking for the other bosses and I immediately lost all interest. Like hard fell. Like I have no interest in turning the game on again, unless some of the bosses are going to be harder than the last boss, which as far as I know, they're not.
That's true.
Yeah. I probably should have done the optional stuff first because I can't see myself turning it back on anytime soon, but that might just be me. You know, I kind of want to play Dark Souls. I don't really want to play Elden Ring anymore. I want to beat Dark Souls finally.
Yeah. I've seen some talks just from watching people talk about the game that some people wished that this DLC, because how good the legacy dungeons are, which are pretty much you find a cave somewhere or something.
Those are pretty good in the DLC. Actually, they were probably my favorite part.
Yeah, they just wish the whole thing were those. Yeah, because that's pretty much just classic Dark Souls, and they're really good in this expansion. If the whole thing were just these, that'd be freaking awesome. But it's not. It's Elden Ring.
I think part of it was leaving the boss arena and then finding myself wandering around the open map again. That made my Elden Ring interest just fall off. So
made it Elden wrong.
Made it Elden wrong. Made it Elden wrong.
I definitely got more frustrated this time, just kind of running around, not knowing where to go than I did in the base game. It really only happened during certain sections, especially the ruins area.
Yeah, that place I was mad at as well.
Trying to get around in that top left section of the map was such a pain. And it's funny because once I finally got there, I immediately found more areas or more ways to get to those places that I missed before. Because there's just a hole in a wall somewhere on a cliff that I just didn't see. It's if I'd found this hole in this cliff, and it would have been a lot. I would have found it a lot sooner. But it was definitely frustrating. There'd be no clear way to get from point A to point B. Especially because I had a lot of performance issues in that area.
That was the other issue that I had, and we kind of talked. I think we talked about that last time, but those never. Yeah. There was an update, and things kind of got. They didn't get better. That's for sure. No. At least for me. I booted up the game to fight the boss and immediately got hit with a 2-second lag where my screen. I thought my game broke.
Oh no!
And then I died.
Yeah, but like, I guess major thing, the bosses. What are your guys' overall thoughts on the bosses? Like, did you like them? Did you hate them?
It's some of
Pretty
their
cool.
best. With the standouts probably being Rolana, Mesmir, the final boss, the Lord of Frenzy Flame, and Bale are all among my top. Probably they all place well within in my top 10 bosses of Elden Ring, and some of them even are some of the best bosses this From has ever done.
You know what's funny is I couldn't tell you what any of those bosses are except the last one. I could tell you who Melania was, if that's her name. I know the
That's a
blind
base
lady with
game.
the sword. I know, but I know that boss. Like I remember that boss. I don't really remember. I mean, spoilers, but Radon. I remember him, but I don't really remember. And I just like the design of the dancing dragon. I don't think it's fun to fight, but I like the way
The
that
dancing
looks.
lion.
Yeah, whatever. The parade guy. He was cool.
Yeah, my thoughts are similar to Jabe's. There were like a lot of those are some of my favorite bosses to fight. It definitely. I also get the same vibe you got, Fliz, where it feels like some of the bosses are not as rememberable, even though I really enjoyed them. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like just the shortened pace of the DLC, where you spend more time kind of running from one place on the overland and actually exploring the locations themselves, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Like I think it like for the Lord of Frenzied Flame, which is the mansion area, it took me way longer to go through those woods and that forest and sneak around than to get through that mansion and get to him.
I didn't
even to
not
beat
long.
him.
I didn't do that boss, did I, Jacob?
No.
Okay. That's why I don't
Oh,
remember him.
he's really cool too. And I think that's a big proponent to why like you don't remember is because
I didn't do it.
in the base game, well, yeah, that too. But like, you know, when you go to fight Godfrey, you have to fight your way through like that entire freaking castle
Yeah.
before
See, I
you
remember
finally
the
get to
castle.
him.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, like you remember the area and then you finally get to the boy. Like you get to him.
Yeah. I mean, part of that might just be like we talked about last time where it was the first time we'd done, and this is obviously just more. So there's less to remember. You know, it's not as stand out in your memory.
Yeah. I think it's just it points to it being more. It might have been a good idea to make more of the DLC a legacy dungeon, like make it more dungeony than just kind of open world. You know,
I was never a fan of the open world situation in the first place, but that's me.
To me, it definitely felt like they blended the open world better with their old legacy dungeon or with their old Souls formula, just with how winding paths and how things end up interacting and interconnecting. Because there's a lot more.
I think you're right, but that only applies once you finally connected those. Actually exploring and getting to those locations, like I said with the ruins, just end up kind of being frustrating because you don't know how it connects because it blends together. You know what I mean?
Because there's also the hard thing with these games is that the opinion that like gets settled in for how people view this is way different in a year or two's time than it is on launch. Because we're seeing a lot of complaints about things that the exact same things that were on launch for Elden Ring, but then people ended up coming to enjoy it once they've, learned world layout, bosses in and out, what's good, what's bad, where to find certain things. So it creates a very biased view, and it always happens with every Souls game.
I was going to say this is just something
where like your view on your first playthrough and views like how I'll view the DLC, like some of the problems won't be problems like every other time I play, but they're only problems on a blind playthrough. Because like now that I know how the map interconnects, that's not an issue for me to play anymore. And
Well, there's what if I'm only going to play it once?
And then it'll be an issue that time. But there's also the fact that previous Souls games have had things where I've just gone, what the fuck am I doing? I still can't navigate Bloodborne to save my life.
I love Bloodborne.
I love Bloodborne.
I love Bloodborne.
Like,
I mean, I
want
guess
Bloodborne on PC so bad.
like to me once I've never replayed the Souls games or anything. I've never done it. Like to me, there's no point in going back because it's kind of just like I've already fought and beat the boss before. Like so I don't see a reason to go back. I've already accomplished and overcame this. I don't want to do it another time just to do it again.
You know what I was thinking about that might be kind of cool if they ever decide to do it is like I want to fight. I want to play, like, let's say I want to play Elden Ring again, which has happened. And then I boot it up and then I have to go, oh, I'm in the home world and I got to start from the beginning if I want to do anything fun. And I already did all this and I don't want to do it. Like it'd be nice if there was like, hey, you can refight some of the bosses if you want, or, you know, have them with different modifiers or change your build and go try that on this boss again, or, you know, and that's not really a thing when the game is kind of all about fighting bosses. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That's why I'm happy the modding community exists, which is also give me a slightly biased view of the base game at this point.
Yeah.
I'm remembering Reforged and Convergence, two of the biggest mods for it. And one of the features of Convergence is the fact that you can refight any boss you want.
That's cool. That should be there.
And the other thing that Convergence does is there's 27 classes. Each one starts in a different spot. And the whole world's open to you from the start. And it's rebalanced in a way that it opens it up.
Nice.
And it's the most recent version of the base game I've played. Where if I wanted to go to Consecrated Snowfield and get smoked, I can. I just have to find a teleporter there.
It feels like every time these games come out, it's this like I haven't actually seen that much. This game is trash and it's hard and I have problems beating stuff. I see a lot more people kind of calling, like, defending the game rather and calling other people trash and they're just not good enough. Like that's what I see the most of.
So that's what I was saying last week. Was the game's hard to critique because most time if you try to critique it, people will tell you get good and you're trash.
Yeah.
Even if it's not 100% serious, that is like a common reply you'll get, which can make things kind of difficult to talk about these games. But to what I was saying before, I think that's why some of the bosses aren't quite as memorable. And I've never been one to like replay these games either. And I don't know how it would be if you were to streamline the map design and make it more like
a mission based.
Yeah, because Legacy Dungeon, like the original setup for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, they're also kind of maze-like too. You can get lost and not know what to do in there too.
Yeah.
That can happen. And part of what makes the game not just a boss fight simulator, you know, where you're just doing bosses over and over, is the adventure of just going through the world, right? Like that's what separates it from games like Fury, which all you do in that game is you fight bosses.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a different genre. That's boss rushes, you know, it's just a different genre.
It's a different genre. Yeah. So it's not Dark Souls and Elden Ring are not that. And that adventure aspect is kind of important. So it's just something that you lose to gain something else in Elden Ring.
Because the world is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Like one of my, probably potentially overall my favorite thing about the DLC was exploring this world of the DLC, the landscapes, because they don't really share any regions, like design-wise, for the base game. Like they're all pretty unique. No real repeats of like they're very similar to base game areas. There's a huge variety in the different locations, from the atmosphere to just colors and things used. Like the ancient ruins of Ra are very different than the jagged peak as you ascend up.
Yeah. Yeah, all the level design and the aesthetics of each area are really good. Especially they contrast so much that it makes it super vivid and like you really feel like you're in a whole different place. The other thing too that I kind of didn't put together until Jacob said something that because when you beat the game, I thought that the ending to the DLC was kind of like, oh, it's just over now, I guess. It felt very like anticlimactic. Yeah, if that makes sense.
No, I had the same kind of thought. That's kind of why I just didn't want to play anymore.
It's kind of how every From Software DLC has ended. 1, 2s, 3s. Bloodborne, they've all ended like this. It's just you beat the final boss, and it's, well, here's either like a 1 minute cutscene or you go talk to someone for 40 seconds.
Yeah, and the reason it's like that is because we're playing this after beating the original Elden Ring, but story-wise, you're supposed to do this before you fight the final boss of the original game and become Elden Lord.
Oh, so this is a prequel?
Yeah. Well, it's more that like story-wise, you haven't become Elden Lord.
Yeah, it's more like this is the game as it was supposed to have been released. You can think of it that way.
So
it's different.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's why it's like that and why it feels so strange.
Is it like acceptable entirely? Like, how do you guys really feel about like a game where I've beat the DLC? I played the main game. I beat the DLC. I've asked multiple people. I've had Jacob explain it to me, and I still like have the barest grip on the point of Elden Ring. Like it just doesn't click.
And of it, like the lore and story,
yeah.
Because the only thing that matters to your character is becoming Elden Lord, and you don't need anything more than that. It's the only canon trait your character has. Everything else is up to your interpretation. And that's this DLC has helped us with some lore reveals and like piecing together pieces that we didn't have before to complete an even like more complete view of how everything fits together.
Does it explain
we were just
why
trying to stop someone from marrying their brother?
I mean, yeah.
Oh, was that the thing? Was that her brother?
His brother, yes.
Yeah. Mikola and Radahn are siblings, dude.
Oh, and they're gonna get married and kiss?
They got married, yeah. That's why
they're
it's
gonna get
consort Radahn.
Quote unquote married, because consort has a different meaning in Elden Ring.
Yeah, but it also
because you need for the god, whatever god to replace the current one, which in this case was Marika, and then for a new one to be born and replace her as the top divinity in the lands between, an Empyrean needs a consort to ascend. That's why Ronnie needs us for the Age of Stars ending, and that's why Mikola needs Radahn.
I think it's just because George R.R. Martin likes incest.
I mean, probably.
I forgot. You know what? I forgot he was involved.
Yeah.
I see.
Just crack the case wide open.
But what you were saying, yeah, I don't know. I guess it like I can see why you would make a story like not so much a story, but why you'd create a game with this kind of storytelling in mind. Because the developer, Miyazaki, he stated that the reason he makes them like this is because he wants the player to, piece the puzzles or the pieces together himself, so you can kind of, just come up with your own iteration of what's going on. He doesn't want to outright tell you exactly what's happening.
Because there's certain things that just flat out aren't explained.
Yeah.
And it's up to interpretation.
What's something that's not explained?
Like, for example, one thing the community is currently arguing on is how willing Radahn was up with this.
Yeah.
Is he completely charmed? Has he followed through the vow the entire way through, or did he change partway through? There's a bunch of different interpretations.
Nah, it seemed to me like his sister was pulling his chain. Like
that's the dude.
Wait, what?
Mikkel's a guy.
Yeah, his female half is Saint Trina, she's found in the bottom of the fissure on the bottom of the Cerulean coast behind the Putrescent, because these gods can have two different parts, two halves, because it's the same thing that Radagon and Marika, who are the same person but also two different bodies.
Yeah, I was gonna say the boss of the base was the same deal.
Share the same body. And they can have
straight up shook right now.
It's so needlessly complicated.
Oh no. We got lore on why Queen Marika, like her whole backstory, like in her village, the Shaman village, which is one of my favorite parts of the DLC, where you find that place. It's just completely empty. There's a small flower field. There's a small tree, and the fucking main theme just slowly plays on loop, like the very soft version. And it's because it's her home village. The Shaman village is where Marika grew up before she ascended to divinity and became a ruler.
Yeah.
and her backstory is fucked.
I didn't even know who that was. I just kept hearing the name America, and every time they'd say it, I'd go fuck yeah in my head. Like that was the extent of my knowledge on that. I'm not the person for this shit. I like the game. I like the game itself. I don't have patience. That's on me.
Yeah.
That's my fault. I'm the dumb one.
I think it's fine them doing the lore and story like this for the simple sake of you can play through the game just fine without having any idea what's going on.
I agree. I'm there with you.
And not only that, it's expressed, like all the cutscene and everything is expressed so thematically that you can still kind of get a weight of what's happening at the same time. Like you can understand like who's important or that you're doing something important still. Or that like you're making some decision here, even if you don't even know what it is. You're like, oh, well, I don't know what this is gonna do, and it seems kind of important.
And I'll take that. You know, I posed the question. I wasn't sure which side I'm on, but I'm definitely leaning towards it's like total. I mean, obviously it's okay. Everybody likes the game, right? Like it's worked. But to like compare, we recently played Dead Island 2, and in that game, the story is told through standing around and just having characters not move and talk at you for like, there's like an hour of that if you put it all together. And it's such an uninteresting way to tell a story. It's like, why even tell a story at that point? You know? So I'll take this. I'm agreeing that Elden Ring's doing it right.
I did have a question to pose to you guys when we did this too.
Yes.
Because we've played like a lot of Dark Souls games, right? What do you think separates like those Souls-like games from Dark Souls and Elden Ring? Like, why hasn't there been a game that has like directly competed with it yet?
One of my main problems with all the Souls clones, with very loose quotations, is that they don't feel as good.
Yeah, like define that.
Oh, there's a lot of jank factor in some of them.
They're floaty. Their controls aren't as tight. The movements are floaty. Their animations are significantly, usually less refined. To small things like maybe fighting, you're kind of floaty and slide around on attacks. Yeah. Sounds are usually worse because there's a ton of great sound design with Elden Ring and the FromSoft games.
You know what really stood out?
Everything feels weighty. Another thing is that it's very hard for them to feel truly unique compared to From Software's. Like a lot of them feel like they haven't completely diverged from feeling like it's just a clone of a Souls game.
Yeah.
Like Liza P definitely felt like its own thing, for example.
Liza P's fun.
I played it and just threw it away.
Lords of the Fallen just feels like a bad Souls clone, like the new one.
Yeah, what were your thoughts, Fliz? What were you gonna say?
There's one thing that really stood out to me in these games in Dark Souls, because I've been playing through a bunch of them, and I'd been playing a couple like Liza P and what was that other one? Emiya.
Yep.
And Sekiro. Like I've played them all within the past couple of years, except Bloodborne, because they don't like me and they hate me and they won't let me play it on Steam. A big part that stands out to me is level design and enemy placement, especially enemy placement. Because how many times in Dark Souls or, any of them, Elden Ring, was there like a thing that killed you and you went, oh, fuck, that sucks. And then you came back prepared the next time and you were excited to fix that situation, right? Like in Thymesia, there's just like the most that happened was there would be an enemy waiting around a corner to stab you. Like where you were like, you'd see an enemy across from you and then there'd be an enemy around the corner to stab you. The DLC did that a bunch as well, which was kind of, I don't know if I really cared for that. It was less engaging when it was just like, oh, there's a guy there. So there's going to be a guy on the right or left who's going to, shove a fireball at my ass as soon as I come around this corner. And it happened like consistently. That was the play. But generally speaking, I think it makes the whole map a puzzle to some degree. You know, like to solve this part, I need to do this, and then to go here, I need to do this, and then I got to watch out for this. And it's a very engaging gameplay loop. And with a lot of the other ones I've played, it's like whatever, you know, it's just not there, you know. And I
want to just like the perfect example of what you're talking about is the probably best example is Dark Souls 1. You've gotten through to Firelink Shrine. You've got up the stairs, right?
Okay.
You've gone through the water walkway. And it's right at that stretch of the Undead Berg and how meaningful every enemy is placed.
Yeah.
And how every location is laid out. Because you've got immediately you come up the stairs. You've got a few enemies that they're all aggroing to you, but they're spaced out enough that they'll show up one at a time. For a few, you'll have a few seconds between each one. Then you immediately have multiple paths and side items.
Yeah.
Which will eventually loop back into itself if you take the optional path. You go up the primary path and you come up to a giant, you get the wyvern scare. And then you come up to a giant open location with some barricades. An enemy's hiding behind one. You've got an archer in the back. You've got a secondary location where you can see that there's 2 spearmen. So you can go either up and try to deal with the archer first, clear out the area, then go for the archer. And then once you get up there, there's the long bridge, which has firebomb enemies placed over the top.
Yeah.
Because every enemy is meaningfully placed. It's not Scholar of the First Sin where they just fucking copy and pasted the goddamn pursuer 5 times in the same area.
Well, I noticed that about Thymesia is like it would kind of have similar situations where, okay, there's enemies here and here and here. But when it came time to solve the problem, the answer was always the same. Parry, 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 kill this guy. Parry, 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 killed it. It was never anything more than that. And I never felt in danger, you know?
Yeah. Because to me, what it feels like a lot of the Souls like miss is because I felt actually a very similar to vibe or a similar vibe to Dark Souls games. A game I wasn't expecting, which was Kenshi. I played Kenshi.
Kenshi.
And yeah, Tsun has watched me play a crap ton of Kenshi for a long time. And the thing with Kenshi and what I kind of connected with Elden Ring and Dark Souls too, is they're games that do a good job of just making you feel like you're not special where you're at. Like you were just a guy with potential in a world that wants to murder you.
Yeah.
In a world where everybody else has
and you
the
need to
same
find
potential.
a way. The whole game is a puzzle, like a way to become that guy. to get stronger and just like make your way through. And as soon as you feel like you're getting pretty strong, something else comes along to say, no, guess again. There's some boss you run into that starts the process all over again.
But even then, there's a whole feeling that accompanies it with the Souls games where like you get to that point and you're like, well, shit, I got through all that other shit. I can probably do this too, right? Like, I've dealt with some nonsense. This is possible. It makes you feel like almost anything is possible. Like even though Radon was, whooping my ass and I only got his second form down to I only took like maybe a fifth of his HP at best. Like I still felt like I can throw hours and hours at this and eventually I could do this. Yeah. It's just
it seems to be like kind of where the magic is that Dark Souls and Elden Rings and
something
Sekiro
special
has.
there.
Yeah. And I think part of it just has to do, again, they take like the small details to make them good, because a lot of the other Souls-like games, they make them hard, but they always add these mechanics and stuff to try to add more complexity. And Elden Ring and Dark Souls do the opposite. They make it so everything you do has meaning, and a lot of it. Like you can't do many crazy moves in Elden Ring, Dark Souls. The ones you can do, most of the time, unless you're like a really good player, you'll just get hit in the face and die. Yeah. like I've watched a buddy try to do this spinning move with a pole blade and try to like do a crazy combo on the boss. He gets 2 hits in and then just punches him in the face.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work because that's just how it goes. So it's very interesting to see a game like Elden Ring and Dark Souls to do so well with such a simple formula that's just so well executed. It's pretty refreshing compared to a lot of the bloat games we have nowadays.
The other thing I was kind of interested in your guys' thoughts on these games is like, it feels like there's stuff that's quality of life issues that are purposefully obtuse and unnecessary. And it kind of, it's frustrating. Well, at least my opinion is like, it's frustrating, but I see kind of why it is the way it is as more of an aesthetic situation. So like summoning people in to help you is such a lengthy process when, you know, people have game lobbies and stuff, or, you know, like one of my biggest problems, and I bitched about it last time and I'm kind of turned on it because I'm going into this now, but like all these cool weapons, but hey, I have to go respec at a whole different place, and hopefully that doesn't suck. It probably will, so I'll have to respec again back to my stuff, and that's all just to try out a weapon. You know, I have to respec. I have to level up the weapon with all my supplies. I have to spend all my souls. I have to go here. I have to do this. I have to suck some dude's dick, and then I'm finally able to use this other weapon, and then it probably isn't going to be as good as what I already have. And that, like, it seems like so much just to try something new, you know? But yeah, I guess, you know, like I was saying, a lot of that is just the aesthetic of the game.
And I mean, another thing is that, like, is that incentivizes replaying, because you have definitely very different experiences depending on what your primary stats and what type of weapons you use.
Yeah.
Versus being like pure casters, half caster, half.
I have never done a caster playthrough yet.
They're very different.
I imagine we played that one game with the multiplayer. Oh my god, what was that stupid ass game you had me play?
Last Aura Crew.
Okay, yeah, the Last Aura Crew, which is, if you've never seen it, the main character is such a chode, and like
silver.
But the idea is that it's Dark Souls, but you kind of want a buddy, right? But it's not really. It doesn't feel like a complete game at all. Yeah, I forgot where I was going. I'm sorry, I lost it. I got stuck on how much I hated that game.
You got mad.
The thought is lost. All right, final thing then, until he remembers the final fight. What? Because this is the most controversial thing about the DLC, besides just like performance problems. What are the thoughts on the final fights? Yay or nay?
Soon.
Is it good?
He's pretty easy.
Soon beat it so fast he didn't even see what he looked like.
Yeah, you offered his flex and like 20 mimic tears came out.
Yeah, dude, you just walked in there and pulled out a Glock and ended the fight. He said, "Nah, gun beats sword every time."
Elden Gang.
Well, how'd you like it, Strider?
The final boss, first phase, perfectly fine, except for the bullshit cross attack of the 1-2 cross slash, because that thing is not timed correctly. So it's almost impossible to dodge. It's like unnecessarily difficult. Phase 2, I just wish I could see what the fuck was happening half the time.
Yeah.
Like, the actual fight would probably be fine if I could just see him the entire time.
I agree.
Like,
and it didn't help that the performance problems just made it worse.
Yeah.
Like he'd do one of his attacks and my frame rate just said goodbye. I don't want to get hit by this either.
he hit frame rate light.
Yeah. And I remember saying I don't mind like Radon and the story and this being him. I just wish this level of difficulty was an optional fight somewhere else, because it's kind of crazy. It's a very difficult fight only if you don't have enough scud tree fragments, which I learned the hard way.
And they've alleviated that with their new balancing.
Did they? What did they do?
So basically they front loaded power, and then they made you overall stronger no matter what level you were actually at. So, for example, your first 2 levels are twice as important. then it's normal, and then like around 8, I think it's 11 to 12, there's a huge power spike. So for example, the new 12 is the old 17 level, for example.
Oh, that's crazy.
But like the new 18 or the new 18 is the old 20. Like after 12, it's significantly less of an improvement. So it's less important that you find all 50 for a balanced fight.
Okay, yeah, because I fought him around like 10 or 11, like level wise. And I got like close to beating him, but I couldn't quite do it. So I went and got some more of the free tree fragments. Got to, I think, 17. And I beat him like 3 or 4 tries after that. Like it became so much easier.
I believe Flizz's run, he got saved by the balance change.
You'll never let me live that down, will you? I got hit like I had a speck of health. You're like, is that 10%? You bitch, you suck at Elden Ring. I heard you.
It's only because people are memeing the original Radon of I beat him before the nerfs where they fixed his hitboxes. Mm-hmm. So it's really funny that this happened again.
Yeah.
But like, I beat pre-nerf Radon again. Yeah. Like, I'm the greatest. You suck. Fucking uninstall.
It's funny because it's like it was kind of tripping me out because that's kind of the whole thing of the game. Like you could be like, will I be like, because I was trying to beat the DLC without using summons, right? And I did fine up until Radon. And like I said, I felt like it could have been done pre-nerf without summons if I sank enough time in it. And then I realized I have a family and a job and I don't want to do that. So I came back to it.
The 4 hours of Lana wasn't enough to convince you of that.
Who was that? Oh, the lady.
The night lady who beat the shit out of you.
Because I knew I could. I knew I could whoop her ass, and I did eventually.
Final score is like 173 to 1.
Yeah,
that's the one that matters.
See, and now we're gonna get into it because you guys used mimic tears through the whole thing, didn't you?
I did.
Yep.
See, I did it with no summons, so it was hard. So of course it's gonna be harder for me. Like that's just how the game goes. So I got there, I did all that to the last boss, and then I tried it, felt I could do it if I had the time, didn't want to waste my time, and I still wouldn't. And then I tried it with the mimic tier, and it actually, the buffs came through, so I could take an extra hit and deal a little more damage. So basically, if I had collected a few more fragments, and well, not a few, I think I was level 11, something like that.
Yeah, you're right around where the buff got big.
Yeah. And so if I had just walked away last time, like a few days ago, and just walked away and got more fragments and then came back, same deal. But the mimic tier just it shouldn't be in the game. I think the mimic tier should not be in the game.
Oh, it absolutely should. Just don't use it if you think it's too strong. Just use a different summon.
No. I don't even think it's the strongest summon, is it? I thought there was a stronger one now.
It's absolutely the strongest summon.
Is
mostly just because it's mostly because of the way how blessing level interacts with it. Because it's taking your own defenses and it's effectively multiplying the HP again.
Yeah, I remember.
But anyway, it was. Within 20, 30 minutes, I'd already beat it. Just, coming back the next day with a mimic tier. It was a whole different game. It suddenly wasn't anything. Maybe you're right. Maybe it should be there for casual people who, just want to play the game. But I even, playing the first one, I feel like I cheated myself using the mimic tier for fights and stuff. There were some fights where I just stood there and watched the mimic tier whoop the boss's ass, and I did nothing. I healed when an AoE hit me. That's the extent of it. And it kind of felt the same with. I got kind of lucky though because he got into second phase and we both hit him, I think. And as he was doing his big old light show, he got staggered, and so I was able to riposte him through be invincible through his big old light show attack. But I had that same issue with you, Jacob, where, there's a part where you think you got him and then he just disappears and then the screen explodes and you just don't know what to do. I don't know where he went. I still don't know where he went. I just know the screen turned bright yellow and I rolled a bunch. That was it. That's all I could do.
It's when he gets low health, he goes for the same common attack he does his original fight where he jumps straight up.
I don't remember the original fight. I remember there were horses and a pot guy and you'd have a bunch of people, but that was it.
And then I guess like the final thing, at least from me, do you guys think that the Radahn fight, like specifically phase 2, is like an acceptable amount of difficulty and design?
No,
No.
I don't. I mean, I'm in the same boat as Jacob. Like it's fine that it could be as difficult as it was. I did not need to have my screen bright yellow 99% of the time.
I think my favorite thing is that someone said was, we found out where they put the fucking old Bandai Namco logo.
See,
I had to put the white logo somewhere. But they fucking threw it into the final boss.
While doing that, I genuinely thought about turning down my graphics settings just to make that stop. If that would even do anything.
Doesn't help. It doesn't help.
I figured it wouldn't, but like it's it's like being flashbang. Dude, it's like when you ever see that meme of the dude who's got like his PC hooked up to an FPS game, but every time he fires, like it shakes the whole PC. If a flashbang goes off, his whole room lights up with a bright light. He fires like the M60 and all his shit falls off the table. It felt like that kind of garbage. Like that's not what I'm playing games for.
Quick side note: Did you see that guy? He actually made a working tank to play World of Tanks in. It uses 2-liter bottles of CO2, and he has like a whole like mechanical thing. You put the CO2 bottle in, it reloads the weapon, and then you can fire, and it shoots the thing out from behind it and onto the floor.
I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds dope.
It's pretty cool. But I definitely agree. I think the fight, the FX effects specifically are too much. I would love if someone made, there probably is like a mod where it's tuned down just to see what it's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because part of the thing with like, it's so fun fighting like Melania and Rolana from this DLC, and even like Dark Souls 3, Gundyr too, is you can clearly see where you fucked up. Like, this is what I should have done. I need to remember that and do it next time.
Yeah, and a little side note is that is why I fought that one lady like for 4 hours straight, because I was enjoying it. It was fun. You know? Yeah,
like you're getting your ass beat, but you know why you're getting your ass beat. And with Radahn, it's like, I can't see. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. Part is
like the effect is actually way stronger if you get hit.
Yeah.
So the actual flash only happens if you get hit, which is really, really rude of them.
Yeah.
I think he's just like all the other bosses. There wasn't a single boss's design in this game I didn't like, just aesthetically. They were all so good.
I think design-wise and like the atmosphere of the fight, the best one is Bale. And it's not even close.
Oh, Bale's amazing too.
Which one's Bale?
He's the dragon. You didn't fight Bale. Yeah, Bale.
Yeah, no, you missed some of the best bosses.
Okay.
Is Bale in Midra, the Lord of Frenzy Flame were probably my two favorite bosses in terms of atmosphere.
Okay.
And overall, two of my favorite bosses.
They're really good. Bale specifically because he's basically this giant dragon. And not giant as in he's humongous, but as in he's extremely bulky and muscular. The thing is jacked.
I thought it would be. I'm waiting for a dragon in one of these games, like that one from that Dungeons and Dragons movie that's just all fat and horrible.
Just really fat.
He kind of is fat. Like he's a very chunky boy.
He is very chunky. I'm thinking it's all muscle though. But basically, you were fighting this dragon after it and someone else just went at each other, and this thing is so hurt. Like it's missing one of its legs. Oh. I think it's missing one of its arms. And there's like a dragon head, like I think it's the guy who's fighting his weapons, like inside of its neck still embedded in him. And he is just whooping your ass. He's so aggressive and so strong. But and he still has some camera issues, but they're not nearly as bad as like some of the other enemies in the game. It's just a great fight.
I think the camera zooms out for that fight.
I think so too. It may or may not.
I'm gonna have to have you guide me to these, Jay. I don't want to play the open world I want to fight the bosses.
No, you can fight the other bosses really quickly.
Okay, I'll have you guide me. Maybe even later tonight. I don't know, but yeah. I want to fight the other
no.
bosses. I don't want to wander around collecting fucking crafting supplies and getting killed by dogs.
I think
the
only thing left that's worth it for you doing is probably hunting down the remembrance bosses.
Yeah, that's fine. I want to do that. I'll do that.
Ugh.
As long as you can streamline it for me, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
All right.
Like once, if you know where to look, then you can find. Dale's probably the longest, and he's like half an hour to get to. But the actual build up to him is great.
The other thing I want to do, I am committed to helping Tsun get to the DLC. If you want to fight who is it, Mog and whatever else, I will be by your side the whole time.
I don't think. Are you even there yet? I don't know where you left off. I know you beat the game, but I know
He has to do the sub quest.
You missed.
Yes, I think have you gotten to the Blood Palace?
Tsun left.
Tsun actually just left.
No, I'm right here. What do you mean?
We're asking you about your Elden Ring.
My Elden Ring? I'm still trying to get the fucking medallion to get to the Mogman.
Oh yeah, so you gotta do the quest still.
Yeah.
I'm down to help you with that if you want it.
I gotta fight Commander Neil.
Well,
as he twirls his flag.
Oh yeah, that guy and his peg leg, I think.
Sixes bottom bitches at me.
Oh shit. Tsun can't resist.
That fight is fun. I remember that fight. It's pretty good. It's a very cinematic fight.
All right,
about it.
Fellas, we're kind of. I'm gonna try and cinch these up a little bit moving forward. You guys got any last words on any of our subjects today?
No, I'm excited to do Final Fantasy later.
Oh yeah, Dawn Trail. Dawn Trail's coming out. We're gonna.
Yeah.
Dawn Trail comes out in 8 hours.
I'm ready. Tank do job.
I can't play it till I'm done work and everything else.
Well,
So
yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yep, same. And then First Descendant too, which looks interesting.
Bad.
Is that?
It looks kind of bad.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Strider. Like you keep showing us that game, and I keep going, "This is fucking Anthem." Like,
yeah.
Oh, July 2nd. Okay.
But it's free.
It's
I'm
free.
gonna try it.
I will try it with you. Wait for me,
dude. You have to play the water lady and inflict enemies with laundry.
The translation is so bad.
I don't know.
At least there was one. I tried that Attack on Titan demo. I could not for the life of me figure. I don't speak Japanese nor read it. I couldn't figure out how to do anything. It was
It's
a
no
mess.
different than your normal playthroughs.
Wow. So this is the end of a friendship and the episode of the podcast. Thank you all for listening so much. We will.
The only thing I wanted to.
Oh no, go for it.
The only thing I want to mention is that Shadow of the Erdtree has passed 5 million sales in 3 days.
Is that a lot?
It's insane. That's more than
Pac-Man.
that's more than Cyberpunk's DLC sold in its
Pac-Man.
from September when it released to the end of the year.
People
It sold
bought
more than that.
like that was a big sale. The Cyberpunk DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Really?
was.
Even after it released so poorly?
Well, they improved the game significantly.
No, I got
since
that,
then.
but it still had all that bad press.
True.
All right, what do I know?
Gamers do not have the longest memory.
I think we've touched on this a couple times, especially with games like Overwatch, where people just, a lot of people know nothing, and they they're just there to play games. They don't care about the companies or the backlash or any of that. Like they don't care. They just want to play Call of Duty and die with their friends. Like that's it. I think that's the general population. Not die, you know what I mean. Shut up.
Shut up. You made me sound bad.
No, everybody dies. It's fine. Okay. Are we good? Anything else? Last words? Nothing?
I do have one last thing. Have you heard the story?
I'm just playing. Go for it.
Have you heard the story out of why Miyazaki and how he came up with the idea for the Souls co-op? Have you heard the story
please
behind
explain to me why it's the way it is.
It's the reason he has it set up like this is it was one time where it was winter. I forget where he was going, but basically someone's car had broken down in the middle of the road, like up a hill.
Okay.
And the only way they were able to finally get it out of the way is just a bunch of strangers had to help push someone's car up the hill. And then he never he mentions that in an interview that he saw these people for only a few minutes of getting this car out of the way, and then he would never see them again. But it's a moment that apparently has stuck with him because it was just one random fleeting moment that he remembers where a bunch of strangers with like no communication basically had to come together to overcome something.
Boy, it's kind of like,
and then this is where he got the idea from, at least that's from what I understand.
No, it makes sense because the games are kind of about emptiness and bleakness. You know, you can't make, there's no friend system. The endings are, you know, anticlimactic. You never feel like you're the Elden Lord, you know?
Everything feels like the wrong decision.
Well, no, I mean, it just feels like that's the point. You know, your character dies over and over again for what? Nothing. You know, it's seems to be the whole thing.
Become swole.
Not even. You fight things that are more swole than you every time you get more swole.
Hey, you know what? But then you become swole than them because your smallness overpowers them.
And then once you do that, it's like Conker's Bad Fur Day at the end, where you're just sitting there king of nothing. You know, like. Did I ever tell you about Conker's Bad Fur Day? I beat the shit out of that game, and I didn't even understand that an ending could be that like morose.
Nothing?
Yeah, and I played it again thinking I got the wrong ending. I got the same ending again, and I was mad forever. I'm still mad.
Still mad.
All right. Okay. Final done. Done.
Hey.
You gonna sing the poo song for us soon?
No.
Okay. Well, maybe next time. Thank you all for listening. Goodbye. If anybody's gonna email with any questions or comments, giantenemypod@gmail. No, wait, hold on. giantenemycrabpod@gmail.com. Yes. Somebody has to do it, right? It's gonna be me.
Some poor giant crab company is going to get a lot
Send
of emails.
everything to his P.O. box.
Oh, I saw a band called Giant Enemy Crab that's been posting stuff recently. Not my favorite kind of music, but more power to them.
Damn.
More power to them, I said. Anyway, goodbye. Bye.
Damn.